but I've been drowning in my PTSD. I can't sleep. When you know the truth and when you understand what we're talking about, you won't be able to sleep either. When you understand that there's a child being trafficked, brutalized, raped, tortured right now as we speak, you won't be able to sleep either. When you realize how much your government is lying to you about, everything is in your face, and some of it you've enabled, you won't be able to sleep. Something happened. I don't know what happened. I was down there for a while. There's certain people that you don't talk about because you just don't. There were certain people that I seen down there, from Beyonce, Jay-Z, you don't tell on P. Diddy.
Whoever you in.
We don't honor the scout that would tell us who it is. Matter of fact, when they get him, we're gonna go, I could have told you that was gonna happen. They were telling too much truth.
Some say Allie Carter disappeared after naming names. Others say she never left, not willingly. According to sources close to Katt Williams, there's an island Diddy owns, off the grid, untraceable. And if Allie ever made it off, she could ruin him in a single day. But what happens to the truth when silence is safer? Before she vanished from headlines, before her name became an internet myth, Allie Carter was screaming into the void. She wasn't just another whistleblower. She was, according to long-standing industry whispers, the long-lost daughter of Tupac Shakur, a living threat to an empire built on silence. Some allege Diddy knew exactly who she was and exactly what she could become. So they didn't just discredit her, they pushed her into a darkness even the tabloids won't touch. She spoke of underground rituals, Hollywood shrines, celebrities who partied with masks and mirrors, and secrets that could destroy careers. They called her delusional, a clout-chaser, a mentally unstable outlier. But no one asked, what if she wasn't lying? Because if she was wrong, why was her content erased? Why did her interviews vanish from platforms? And why did she predict this months before anyone else?
There's an arrest coming. There's actually 2 arrests that are already made. There's a 3rd one coming. I don't know why people are sitting on this. I'm ready. I see that some people are not. I've been ready. A lot of you are ready. Like, let's get this shit over with, right? You're like, just release it. Just drop it. For whatever reason, even on the Ghislaine Maxwell case, people are holding on to names because they know it's going to destroy some of these celebrities because you guys love them. It's going to destroy a lot of these celebrities because they know they're wrong. They've been doing this for decades. They've been putting it in your face. They've been mocking their victims, and they've gotten away with it because who they keep in their back pocket and who they pay. There is a 3rd arrest that is coming. There's 2 that's already down. There's a raid that's about to go on. And on top of that, it's somebody that has something to do with an affidavit that I have already released. I am telling you, we know that it's coming. I knew it was coming when I made sure there was sworn and legal affidavits already ready 6 to 8 months ago. I'm telling you right now that they're about to grab them and they're about to announce it. When they announce it, we got a problem.
She wasn't speculating. She was warning us. And just as the world started catching up, she went dark. Allie Carter wasn't just spiraling online. She was signaling something, and just when her message started reaching the wrong ears, Katt Williams picked it up. They called him unhinged, washed, the loudest voice in an empty room. But Katt wasn't shouting nonsense. He was speaking in code. The kind of code you use when the truth gets people go missing. He didn't just mention Diddy. He connected him to a pattern, a system, a machine built to protect the elite until they're no longer useful. He told the public that the very people we should be listening to are the ones we're taught to ignore.
We don't honor the scout that would tell us who it is. Matter of fact, when they get him, we're gonna go, I could have told you that was gonna happen. They're telling too much truth.
They didn't believe Allie. They don't believe Katt. But both are saying the same thing. A reckoning is coming, and Diddy isn't the end of it. Katt claims the parties Allie exposed, the shrines, the masks, the children, aren't limited to music. They cross into politics, medicine. Hollywood is just one node in a much darker web.
they've had like accusations and stuff. He hasn't gone on trial, I don't think yet. But do you think that there's been speculation that they did that because the timing of that was they wanted to like use other people that have allegedly been involved in some of his circles they wanted to kind of use like, okay, you could be next.
Katt believes Vaughn is not theorizing. He's explaining how power uses leverage. Arrest 1, pressure 5, silence the rest. And if Diddy's getting cornered now, it's not just for justice, it's for strategy. Because every scandal we see is just a move on the board. And the names surrounding Diddy, they're not bystanders. They're next in line.
That's how all cases are handled, right? So what am I saying? I'm saying if it's car theft and we're going to accuse you of having a carjacking ring, right? We're going to begin by bringing in people that we caught who were robbing cars, who said that you was the boss. They're first in line.
Ally Carter said the same thing months earlier. She knew names. She knew what was coming. She told us there'd be arrests, that the system would flip on its own to save itself. And she warned us they'd make her disappear before they let her testify. Katt didn't replace her voice. He amplified it. And what he's saying now isn't new. It's what she tried to say before the world erased her. When Ally Carter's voice started to rise above the noise, the smear campaign began. Not from Twitter trolls, not just from blogs, from people who claim to be family. A woman came forward, claiming to be her biological mother, not to support her, but to destroy her. She called Ally schizophrenic, said she was delusional, planted just enough doubt to poison every ear that started to listen. It was convenient, it was calculated, and it worked. That wasn't a troll on Twitter, that was Ally herself, describing what it feels like to tell the truth in a world built to punish it. You don't just risk being ignored, you risk being erased. The headlines follow. Allegations of mental instability, whispers that she was high. Social media turned on her with the kind of cruelty that only comes when someone makes people feel too much. Her accounts were flagged, her videos hidden. She was labeled a conspiracy theorist because that's easier than confronting what she was actually saying.
You have a wolf in truth teller clothing. You have a prison convict who, if you look at the background, is known for beating the hell out of black women. Somebody needs to call his parole officer, for number one. For number two, then you have, I don't even know if this is true or not, but you have a patient from the Patton Hospital criminally insane mental ward that is in San Bernardino, California, that is speaking and saying they're my surrogate. I don't know if it's true or not, but if this is the Patton patient that I do know of, again, Patton for the criminally insane patient that we know of. Look it up. There's a record. If this is the case, this woman has supposedly 6 kids. Where's all of them? You guys check. I put out a piece of evidence in on my TikTok. It's on my Telegram. If you go through those CPS reports range from 1994 to 2006. I met my mom, my mother, my twin right here, in 2009, 2008, 2009-ish? 2009-ish. 2009-ish, okay? So from 1994 to 2006, whose fault was that? Because damn sure wasn't my mom. It seems like a lot of people are projecting, I know it, they're projecting everything that they're guilty of, from selling drugs, abusing other children, abusing me.
Ally didn't hide. She doubled down. She pulled receipts, documents, dates, CPS files. She didn't ask to be believed. She dared you to verify. And that's when it became clear. This wasn't about mental health. It was about narrative control, because nothing terrifies the industry more than a woman who's calm, documented, and still refusing to shut up. It's not just about Ally. It's about the millions of others, kids, teens, adults, who are still waiting for someone to care more about people than playlists. The trauma doesn't end with a headline. It doesn't fade with time, But it can be eased by truth, by action, and by refusing to look away. Allie Carter became a symbol of every voice silenced, of every victim labeled crazy, so that attackers could stay powerful and untouchable. She wasn't perfect, she was persistent, and as the system told her to disappear, she spoke even louder.
Something happened. I don't know what happened. I was down there for a while. There's certain people that you don't talk about because you just don't. There were certain people that I seen down there, from Beyonce, Jay-Z. You don't tell on P. Diddy, but P. Diddy.
So you said you don't tell on these people. Is that like a code that all victims adhere to? They don't talk about this stuff?
Yes, you don't, because nobody's gonna believe you. You're nothing to them. You don't count. You're just a toy. You're not essential, as they call them. You're expendable. And as a child in that situation, I wasn't the type of person that was fighting all the time, because I started to learn who I was. I started to learn my pimp. I started to learn what I was in. I started to learn that you don't fight. You watch what you say, you watch what you do. And at some point, I stopped fighting.
Every hero needs a guide, someone who's survived the shadows long enough to understand how they move. For Allie Carter, that mentor didn't walk in with a badge or a press pass. He came in laughing, with a cigarette and a record longer than his resume. Katt Williams isn't just another celebrity with a mic. He's a vault, 30 years in the game, collecting stories nobody dared to write down. They told you he was unstable, too raw, too controversial. But what they didn't say is that he's the one who knows where the bodies are buried.
In 30 years, I've done nothing but collect information, knowledge, and your secrets.
He's not just a voice, he's a vault. And when a vault like that starts opening, people start running.
I know so many things I shouldn't know, and they all know it.
For months, it was all rumors, shadow talk, whispers of an island, missing girls, and underground parties no one would name. But on a spring morning in 2024, the whispers became evidence. Federal agents from Homeland Security raided Diddy's homes in Los Angeles, Miami, and even his Manhattan hotel suite. What they found wasn't just shocking, it was strategic. It was sinister. Over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant, AR-15, parts with scratched off cereals, a loaded .45 hidden in a guest house, Gucci bags stuffed with CK and MS toys, mood lighting, tools, phones hidden in a Balenciaga boot, and 4 bags. For recovery, prosecutors say, after nights that weren't just wild, they were orchestrated. They called them freak-offs, multi-day S-events, filmed, documented, powder fuel, and according to court documents, Diddy directed every angle.
There are pictures of Diddy's former girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, with what she says are bruises on her back and legs, which you can see here, and also a gash above her eye. Also released today, some pictures from when Diddy was arrested in September of last year at the Park Hyatt Hotel in New York. And a special agent with Homeland Security testified last week that some of the items found included baby oil, drugs, these pink packets of ketamine. There's also this image of a knife wedged in a door. Now, Combs, we aren't sure if he's going to be taking a stand in his own defense, but he denies all of the allegations against him.
The defense said it was nothing he buys baby oil in bulk, they joked, but this wasn't about personal preference. It was about control, power, pattern. This wasn't just a celebrity downfall. This was the moment the system couldn't look away anymore. Diddy's empire wasn't built on music. It was built on silence. And now, that silence is broken. It started with one name, then another, then a dozen. But as the stories came forward, a new pattern emerged. This wasn't just about Diddy. This was about the industry, the handlers, the protectors, the gatekeepers. Every ally Allie Carter thought she had vanished. Every institution that was supposed to help, silent. This wasn't just fame, it was a fortress.
Everybody is complicit. Everybody is complicit.
is covered up by your local FBI. It is covered up by your local police department. It is underground tunnels. There's a whole world. It's a different way of life. There's every source of transportation. When I met Joe Biden, I was rushed through many celebrities. Half of them I did not know. It didn't faze me to see them. It didn't. Some of them were actually very conceited and cocky that I didn't know who they were. Underground, under the Getty Museum in Los Angeles, there are many tunnels. Again, there's a way of transportation. There's every single way of transportation under the ground. I was sold to Joe Biden. Multiple times. Sometimes people don't talk about it, because when you don't talk about it, it makes it okay. When you don't talk about it, it makes you bury it.
They call it the circle of trust, but it's not trust. It's a code. Stay quiet, protect the brand, ignore the bodies. Whistleblowers are laughed off, victims labeled unstable. And if you push too far into the truth, you're not just silenced, you're destroyed. But the darkest part? It's not just celebrities. It's not just managers. It's people in power, the ones who should have stopped it.
And the people in authority are not there to help you. And everybody is so worried about the elite. And we could give those names of Barack Obama, Joe Biden. We know about Michelle Obama, that's a man. We know about Too Short. We know about Akon and Steven Tyler, and we can give those names all day. And everybody is so worried about that. But what you should be worried about is the people that are in between, the people that go as low as your grave diggers. I was trafficked to people within my schools. I was trafficked in underground tunnels that link under your schools, through your cemeteries, under your amusement parks, through Universal Studios, and into Hollywood elite homes, all over the place, all over the world. And people don't understand that, and they can't fathom that, and they can't put that together. But if you think about the things that have come out lately, and there's 200 children missing, and there's 300 children missing. What Amber Alert did you receive? How many times do you receive an Amber Alert every year? And if you think about that, how many children are coming up in your face that have been tortured and abused like this? It exists and it's real, and people don't want to face it. It happens in your schools every day, as your grave diggers, your trash men. Everybody is involved.
Ally Carter didn't just name names, she named networks. And in doing so, she stepped into a war where truth is hunted and silence is sold. The question now isn't who's guilty, it's who's left to speak out before they disappear too. This wasn't just about being ignored. It wasn't just about being called crazy. This was about living inside a trauma so deep, it rewired who she was. Ally Carter wasn't just canceled. She was psychologically picked apart in real time. She tried to scream through the darkness, and when no one listened, she turned inward, forced to carry the weight of secrets too vile to keep, but too dangerous to share without protection.
I've been hiding. My mom and I have been hiding. We've had our head down. We've tried to back up. We've tried to tell you everything that we can, and now we have people messaging us, investigators, people that want to talk now, when now it's because it's trending. We're still not on the subject of the kids. All the adults are covering their asses. All the adults are, I left at a certain time, yet you knew children were there. You knew these parties were not okay. They weren't freak-offs. They were satanic ritual orgies. Get it straight. It wasn't just adults in these parties. The adults were responsible for the child slaves that were in the party. And one of those children were me.
This is what silence costs. You think it's peaceful? It's a slow-burning prison, carved out of doubt and abandonment. She told us that what happened to her didn't just scar her, it consumed her. And it's not over. She lives it every single day. When someone speaks truth into a system designed to punish it, they don't walk away stronger. They walk away scarred. This was Ally's crucifixion, and nobody even noticed.
You don't live in the world you think you do. Everybody that you think is not guilty is about to show you who they really are. I've been screaming for years. So now, if you see me over here trying to live a normal life and tying up loose ends as justice, mind your business. Or don't. Or don't. We were followed the night that Diddy was arrested. I left a place that I was in, minding my own business, finally trying to stop for a second and get my life back. And you know what? I'm not even upset about that. I'm upset about the fact that I have to walk back into this place and have to tell you all goodbye. So if you know who I am and you know me as Justice, you know I'm about to walk into this building and tell you I gotta go. Nobody ever thinks about the victims. Nobody. The victims' lives get turned around when the predator's lives want to just get announced. You slap them on the wrist and you bring up every source of trauma for the victim. But nobody wants to stop and think about that. We're not talking about the victims that are still going through the right now with other people who are running to cover their ass and deleting their social medias. Pink, Megan Fox, Tyra Banks, Steve Harvey. Why are you running?
This wasn't a downfall, it was an execution. And yet somehow, Allie was still trying to warn us. The question now is, will we listen before it's too late? Then, for the first time, something shifted. Katt Williams wouldn't stop talking, and neither would the internet. What used to be whispers became echoes. Allie's name started coming back, her videos reshared, her warnings suddenly not so unbelievable, because everything she'd said was beginning to show up in court documents.
Let me tell you something about the Southern District of New York in the U.S. Attorney's Office. They are the most powerful, strongest U.S. Attorney's Office in the country. And they do not just do a case, okay? They are airtight when they are brought to them. They do not prepare for a trial. They put so much pressure on the defense team and on the defendant with the amount of evidence they have and witnesses and electronic surveillance evidence, all of that into a packet. They don't move forward until they have you. And Diddy is in a lot of trouble.
This is what reward looks like when you're a whistleblower. It's not applause, it's validation. Not because the world believes you, but because it has no choice anymore. They thought Allie was irrelevant, but now she's becoming unerasable. But just when it seemed like the tides were turning, she vanished again. No new videos, no live streams, no posts. And if you followed Allie Carter for any length of time, you'd know that's not like her. Sources close to Homeland Security confirmed Diddy's arrest, but a credible leak said something far more terrifying. Allie Carter might be the third missing witness.
One of their key witnesses against the rapper appears to have gone missing. This comes as we learn that Combs' ex-girlfriend, who was seen on video being assaulted by the rapper, is pregnant.
And the place she's being held? Diddy's private Love Island, a location nobody enters unless he says so. This isn't some myth or TikTok conspiracy. This is a pattern. A witness goes missing. A media storm hits. And then silence.
Yeah.
Very person.
Yeah, I have an island. This is just for inspirational motivation to use it on. You know what I'm saying? You don't know a lot of black men that come from the hood that got an island. I got an island called Love Island. So when I took you to Love Island, and then you realize that, you know, the plane landed and then we had to float to another island. What was going through your head when we were going there?
I was silent, finna go to war by this nigga, he mad.
What was your favorite time that I took you off the grid? When you going off the grid with me, you gotta go to sleep for a week.
You think this story's over? The fight hasn't even started because Diddy's been caught. But the system that protects him, that still thrives. And Allie Carter, the one who saw too much and said it out loud, may have been disappeared by design. Allie Carter may be missing, but her voice, her warnings, they're louder than ever. At first, it was just Katt Williams, but now it's more than one man with a mic. It's crowds, it's creators, it's survivors, it's witnesses, and they're done being quiet. Outside federal courtrooms, people are showing up, not for selfies, not for spectacle, but for Allie, to demand answers, to hold signs. To make noise in a world that once told her to shut up, the people are waking up. And while the system may not fear one voice, it fears 1,000. And Allie Carter's truth has never been more alive. If you like this video, hit that subscribe button so that you never miss out on any new videos. And until then, fam, keep it real.